And what Volodymyr Zelensky is saying is, when they lose this battle, and Kim, they're going to lose this battle. They're losing it as we speak. They will lose 80,000 men. And when that happens, the Ukrainian army is gutted. There's nothing left. And they are a defeated army and a defeated nation. They're all going to die. The equipment is going to be destroyed. And when that happens, Zelensky will have to surrender. Zelensky is going to have to cede some constitutional issues dealing with denazification. His military will have to be gutted. All of the NATO equipment that we've been providing will have to be either destroyed, turned over to the Russians, or returned to NATO. This is a strategic defeat of Ukraine, because Zelensky made Bakhmut the strategic battle of the war.
What would be the fate then, I would say, of Finland and Latvia and Estonia if the goal is to de-NATO the border? Too late. I mean, NATO's already there.
No, that's true. First of all, there's a difference between Finland and Ukraine. Ukraine is a Slavic nation with a deep history, a cultural, religious, ethnic, language with Russia. So the Russians feel that Ukraine is an extension of Russia. Even if Ukraine is going to be an independent sovereign state, the fact of the matter is millions of Ukrainians live in Russia. Millions of Ukrainian families are dual Russian-Ukrainian families. There's a linkage there that the West doesn't understand why Ukraine is so important. Finland made a fatal error. Russia's not going to invade Finland, but now Finland has to deal with the fact that one of the consequences of joining NATO is that Russia is building a 70,000-man corps that's going to be stationed on the Finnish border, threatening Karelia, threatening Helsinki. Welcome to the club, Finland. Not only that, every Finnish city now is targeted by Russian nuclear weapons. Welcome to the club, Finland. And if Finland seeks to put NATO infrastructure on its borders, then Russia will double the ante. Finland went from being a prosperous neutral country to a nation that now has been compelled to spend billions of dollars on a defense that they didn't need to have because Russia never posed a threat to them. That's the reality. The Baltic states, they've joined NATO. Now, the other thing is they are all protected under Article 5. So Russia's not going to attack them, because an attack against one is an attack against all. But they're also all condemned to death if NATO ever engages in a war with Russia, because now they're part of the NATO target. It was foolish on the part of Finland, and I can guarantee you within a span of less than 5 years, they will regret forever making this decision.
Yeah, but then that exact same logic would make, that's why Ukraine is saying, well, we want to join NATO, because then Russia would have that same feeling toward Ukraine that's in NATO as they do towards Estonia or Latvia, right? So
yes, but Ukraine is not Finland. Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union, and if you take a look at the way Ukraine was created, it was literally an artificial state created by the Communist Party of the Soviet Union in pursuit of a nationality policy that was as artificial as the day is long. Every Russian knows the truth that historically Ukraine is part of Greater Russia, and Russia will never allow Ukraine to be stripped away from its sphere of influence and transferred to the West. Yeah. Finland at one time was part of the Russian Empire, but from the Soviet experience, Finland was an independent nation. And so there's not that feeling of cultural betrayal, ethnic betrayal. But no, there's a huge difference between Ukraine and Finland. And people who have studied Russia understand exactly why Russia will never allow Ukraine to be part of NATO.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting that Zelensky's making these comments. I mean, we might just be seeing the end of this conflict pretty shortly if what he's saying is accurate. If they do feel like it's time to go to the table over Bakhmut, that very interesting. So many of us wondered when this would end, and we might just actually be seeing it
today. When we take a look at the current relationships between the United States and Russia, they're just as bad as they were in the 1980s. And yet we found a way in the 1980s through the implementation of meaningful arms control to reduce tensions and make the world a safer place and improve relations. And I believe that's the key for moving forward today with Russia: arms control, meaningful arms control, real arms control.